Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you see this live. Hey, this your guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here? Right chair. Welcome to Ray's Corner Live. Welcome to Ex's House. Life change. Hey, listen. Let me get some of this housekeeping out the way real quick. Because guess what? We want to talk about the 21st century man. The 21st century man. Male, not man. Male. The 21st century male. Ray's Corner Live, Exodus House Life Change. It's being sponsored by Golden Goose Productions. If you have an event, if you want to come to an event, great comedy, we do comedy shows, we do jazz shows, and listen, we also provide this is the greatest food in the world. Of course, our guy Edward Ingram, aka Goose, is our chef. And of course, if you want to get to the vineyards, if you want to go for traveling summertime, it's here. Listen, uh, Sophisticated Sojourners. That's our travel agency. Hey, check it out. Move forward. Look, you got to pay somebody. Might as well go on and pay us to make sure you have the greatest adventure that you have. Where sophistication meets exploration. Okay, let's get right with it. Talk about this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, whenever you see it. The 21st century male. I'm taking my time because there is a crisis. There's a crisis, a male crisis. You know, when we talk about when we talk about certain things about the male, we talk about masculinity, we talk about all these things. But let's unpack some of this stuff. Let's talk about some real things, right? Because there's an identity crisis for male. Because we have to understand, we don't understand the purpose and power of who we are and God's design for men. So we want you to know, we want you to understand your purpose. We want you to understand your power. We want to understand that God has a design for men. I'll jump real quick. Masculinity, you want to keep hearing me saying, stop teaching, stop talking. Well, no, I can't tell you what not to teach because that's what you want to teach. But men, stop trying to be masculine because it's based on the world system. Start being human. It's based on purpose. So when we talk about the 21st century male, throughout the nations of our global villages, the prisons are filled with multitudes of men. I'm going to say that again. Throughout all the nations in the global villages, the prisons are filled with a multitude of men. Men are also victims of drug abuse and the primary carriers of HIV, or can I say the dreaded AIDS virus. Many men have found home in gangs and antisocial activities. And because they're in these gangs and because they are inside or tied to these antisocial activities, it wreaks havoc on our social order, meaning things are out of place when men are out of place. Men, we're oppressing women. Because we don't know who we are, we're perpetuating domestic violence on the women. We got to understand what's happening now in every society and every social system. I want to say this in every cultural and every social system, men are struggling to find their place in this fast changing world. Now, let me back up for a second because when we talk about in every culture and social system, remember we're always talking about there is a system that we men are trying to find that is not the system, that is not the culture, that is not designed for who you are and who we are and our purpose and plan that God has for our life. We're trying to live up to a standard. We're trying to follow a model that's based on a system, that's based on a social system, that's based on a cultural system. When we start looking at there is a dramatic change in the status of women. There's a dramatic change in the workplace. There's a dramatic change in traditional cultural roles. And it has left a significant number of men confused, disillusioned, angry, frustrated, and traumatized. Let's stop right there and unpack some of this stuff. Things are changing. And because things are changing and we're trying to find a role that the system says we're supposed to be in, and that role right now, it doesn't apply. That role as a male, that role as masculinity, the system, the culture of a man, how he's supposed to be, how he's supposed to act, what he's supposed to do, does not apply in these times right now. And we're trying to incorporate a system or a masculine state of mind of what we think a man is supposed to be, and it's not working because things are changing. Because listen, the male or you and me of this cyber technical, internet driven, postmodern world is caught in a worldwide web of confusion. I must say that again. Make it real plain because technology, internet driven, postmodern war is caught up in a worldwide web of we are totally confused of who we are. See, man, we are in trouble and we are afraid to admit it. We're lost in this paradigm shift. We're lost in this uncharacteristic of water of social and cultural change. I find it hard at times at 66 years old, right? I'm on the tail end of life, right? So, but for my younger men in your 20s and 30s and 40s, even 50s, that this world has changed to the point that we really don't know who we are because we're not working in the purpose and plan that God has for our life. And then because of changing times, I will always tell you, back in the day, the man got the job, he bought the house, he got the wife, he made the kids. He go to work, he come home, he eat, he go to bed, he have sex, he wake back up, the wife take care of the kids. It was a norm. And we're trying to make a traditional way of manhood fit in a society where technology and internet and women have changed and the workplace have changed. We're trying to place it into this society now, and it does not fit, and we're totally confused. And when you understand change, we have to start changing our direction. Change is often the source of uncertainty and a measure of fear and anxiety. I'm going to say that change causes, or it is often the source of uncertainty. It's often the source of a measure of fear. It is often the source of anxiety. And for most of us men, this fear is difficult to manage. When I had the fear of wanting to change, I would always go back to using drugs. When anxiety, I couldn't deal with anxiety, I would always go back to using drugs. I don't even say, I can't say going back. I said, in the midst of those things, in the midst of my fear, drugs, I ran to drugs. In the midst of my anxiety, I ran to drugs. And it was hard to manage this fear. It was hard to manage this anxiety because I didn't know where I fit in at the time. And because it's hard to manage, it causes us to react in various ways. Our reactions to things. I started reacting differently. I started reacting differently to women. I started reacting differently to family members. I started acting differently. I started reacting differently, can I say, to situations and circumstances. Some negative reaction to change. See, when change comes, negative reactions to change. Because I don't want to change. I didn't listen. I didn't want to change my thinking because it felt like if I changed my thinking, I would feel less than a man that I couldn't make decisions for myself. And I could tell you at the time I was going through this program in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and I was going through this discipleship program. And the man of God walked up to me and said, "Your biggest problem." Now I'm in my 40s, right? In my 30s or 40s, whatever it was. He walked up to me and said, "Look, your biggest problem you're not capable of making good decisions. And because of that, because of those things, because I couldn't manage the fear, because I couldn't manage the anxiety, it caused me to, I reacted in negative ways, which includes denial that I did listen, that I could keep using drugs, denial that I was a bad husband, denial that I was a bad father, denial that I couldn't keep a 9 to 5, denial that I needed help, ignorance. Look, it included change, included ignorant, denial, ignorance, isolation, anger, resistance, and resentful, and being resentment. All those things are attached to change when you don't want to change. When you can't manage the fear and the anxiety that comes from change. We're in denial about who we are. We're ignorant about the things we need to do. Listen, in the end of my road when I was on drugs, I didn't even want to be around people. I spent 24 hours a day wanting to be alone. I didn't want to come out in the daytime because I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want people to see me in the condition that I was in. I was angry at myself because I knew I was better than what I was. I knew I was better than who I was at that time. And I had resentment of people who were doing good. Oh, look at them. They think they all that in a bag of chips. And what happens, it caused serious effects in the environment or in my sphere of influence of people who are around me. It caused effects. It caused change. It caused oppression and suppression and violence and the spirit of control. Those things, right? Those things. It changed my behavior. It changed how I reacted to things. And it changed the people who are around me. It changed family members, loved ones, children. It changed everything that attached itself in my environment. It caused good people to be bad. It caused people to do things against me that they didn't want to do. It caused people to push me away. It changed people's lives because of my reaction to things. See? And the impact of my confusion impacted the women I associated myself with, the family I associated myself with, and society in the whole. And we got to start understanding that. So, why is the male crisis of purpose such a pivotal issue? Because we got to get in purpose. I don't need to be masculine. I don't need to understand what role society says because if I get in purpose, I understand my role. So why is the male crisis of purpose is such a pivotal issue? Because half of us don't know why we created. What is our existence on this earth? When I did not understand why I was here, I did all the things of a person who was clueless, who walked aimlessly, who made decisions based on with no substance. See, why is the crisis of a male's purpose such a pivotal issue? For one thing, it attacks the cure. It attacks the very core, the very essence of who men are, and it leaves us indecisive and foundationally weak. We don't want to make decisions. We lean on women. We lean on this family member. We lean on mom. We lean on everybody else. We're indecisive. We're foundationally weak. We have no foundation to build on. For another reason, it reflects a breakdown in understanding, communication, cooperation between men and women. that is unnatural and unhealthy. Men, uh, we don't talk to women. We don't say. We become angry. We become violent. We treat them with disrespect because we're unhappy, because we're not in purpose, because they're doing things that we supposed to be doing, because they're in a role, quote unquote, that we supposed to be in a leadership role, leading the family. They're leading the family. They're going to work. They're buying the house. They're buying the cars, and we're confused. And because we can't do it, we get mad at them, and we wonder why they change. That becomes a natural relationship. That becomes an unhealthy relationship with women. See, we had a crossroad. We're not just a critical crossroad. Where do we go from here? And where we go from here will have a serious effect on society, or the course of society as a whole, or the course of our relationship with women, or the course of our relationship with our family, or the course of our relationship with people. See, the crisis of purpose, it's a crisis of purpose because we don't know our purpose. Not understanding purpose will continue to escalate the uncertainty and the defensive state of mind that we have. We're always defending. We're trying to defend ourselves because we're making bad decisions, because we're doing this, because we're not fulfilling this quote unquote role that society says we're supposed to be, and not realizing the only way I can do what I do is go back to the manufacturer who created us. We're trying to get solutions from the creation instead of the creator. The only answer, the only person that can tell me why I was created, the only person that can tell me my purpose is the person who created us. And we continually go to create the creation to tell us how we're supposed to live, man, what roles we're supposed to be. And these things don't work for us. We will continue to remain frustrated. We will live a level of life far below our potential. And society will keep going downhill. So I ask this question: what should men do? What should we do, man? Should we hold on to our old traditional roles and ways of thinking? The wife's supposed to do this, or should we follow this new way, this new path, right? Right? That we don't have a clue about. See, because change is going to change. We can't stop change. Change is going to continue to change. One, we probably don't want to, roll our way back to that traditional way because we didn't value women in the old system. And the new system, because we're out of order, because we're out of place. Listen, brothers, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you something I'm going through. I'm giving you my experience, strength, and hope also. So where do we go from here? Stay with us. This is just part one. Understanding purpose and power of men. God's design for us. Hey, this your guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. We're here, right here. Hey, listen, like we always say here at Ray's Corner Live, God loves you and I love you. And guess what? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace out.